I am back with you again. My name is Merton, and I've been longing to tell my story to you. You've heard about the believer's authority and stuff like that, and it's something that I had not known for a long time. I grew up in the church, and from an early age I always thought there had to be more to church than what I was seeing. One of the things that bothered me was a lot of people, they come to church, they're sick, and they leave, they're sick. And it just did not seem to be what the Bible tells us. Something was missing. And I've seen too many people that I love die, get from cancer or whatever other sickness, and it bothered me. I have always had, I believe, a deep-rooted compassion for people who were sick, a longing to see them healed, wishing that there was something I could do. I'm just rambling now, trying to give you a little background on who I am. I was blessed one day when a guest preacher came to my church, and I saw something that I never used to see before. I got to know him, and he showed me from the Word who I am in Christ, what I have in Christ, what I can do in Christ. And his words were, as I recall, there are too many sick people in this church, and I couldn't agree more. Well, he took me under his wing for a little while, and that changed my prayer life, that changed how my Bible study life, and I started to see more clearly just who I am in the Lord. I started to see that there is some authority that as a believer, there's some authority that I have, which I was not seeing in the people that were mentoring me before, the pastors that I've been with. It was just a new world opening. Well, one thing led to another, and we started a small ministry group. And I got to pray with people and take authority over sicknesses and diseases, you name it. Over the years, I've seen so many people healed of so many different ailments, and that encouraged me. I prayed for people with tumors, for people with terrible sprains. I prayed for ear problems, and the Lord came through, and that encouraged me. I prayed for my own, for headache for myself, you name it. Anyway, it's one thing to pray for other people. Well, what about when the bad report is about you? And I faced up that, I came face to face with that reality some years ago, July 2012 to be exact. I got devastated. I went to take my my annual physical. That's not too accurate. It's supposed to be annual physical, but the last time before that was probably about 3 or so years. You know how men are. Sometimes we don't go to the doctor as we ought to. Anyway, the result came up. My blood pressure was sky high, cholesterol was sky high, everything was not where they should be, and the kicker of that all, I was diagnosed with prostate cancer. That's the #2 killer of men in the United States. You know what I found out when you get a terminal report? The natural mind goes straight to the grave. I saw my funeral. I started to see things at my family, what's going to happen to my children, and there was turmoil inside my mind, my spirit. I was in a mess for a few minutes while the man kept talking to me. I was in my car. I was in my Land Rover, pulled over in a little strip mall because he wanted to talk to me. So as he kept talking, I could hear his voice, but I was in another world. And then he apologized for having to give me such a bad report. And just for a moment, I felt an urge to laugh, and I laughed out loud. And